Before I begin this, I'd like to thank Vader Reviews. If you don't know who he is, check out his channel. Awesome guy, really, to talk to on Twitter. But I actually ran this idea by him and another person, Troubled Cat. Again, another awesome person I like to talk to. And he actually encouraged I do this. So I'm just going to put, for now, I'm just writing it down, but I will be putting, this is a pitch I want to do and kind of see what kind of responses it might get. I highly doubt it'll get a response, but I figured what the heck. It couldn't hurt to try. So with that out of the way, I'll begin the video. And to begin this, I would just like to say the Halo universe is a very interesting one, to say the least. Much like Star Wars, it has a very expansive amount of EU-like content, though it hasn't had as long of a period to gestate and develop as much as Star Wars has, and then be promptly ruined. Although I'm pretty sure there's some people who say 343 is pulling to Disney in regards to how they treat the Halo franchise, but I'm not even going to get into that. My general impression of it was, and one of the things that I kind of liked after I went back to it after so many years was, I always looked at it as Call of Duty sort of with a science fiction alien tech flair to it. And the recent disappointment from known as Paramount's Halo series, which I would argue warrants an exterminatus, has certainly done a great deal to inspire annoyance by actual fans of the Halo franchise. See Weaponized Nerd Rage's streams and Night Watch's videos for some examples of the things they've been doing that piss people off. And I say this as someone who's not even a big hardcore Halo fan. I'm more of a casual. I come back to it from time to time. But this thing did succeed in something. It did, as is always the case with woke entertainment, it made me appreciate what came before. Well, basically before Paramount decided to play Welshman and treat Halo like the GOAT. I'm hoping that's the right insult and stereotype. And I say this as a guy who may or may not be Welsh, so don't give me shit over that joke. This in turn led me to rewatch, and I'm kind of using some notes for this, so I'll be going on and off. Red vs. Blue series by Rashid, and yes, I'm aware it was not made by people inside Bungie or 343, but I consider it a good way to get people interested in the Halo universe. That's technically what got me back into it, because I played it back on the Xbox, and then I never beat it. I played the second one, never beat it. I sometimes followed what was happening, but I never beat any of the games till I got the Master Chief Collection. I can't remember when exactly, but anyway. I went back to watch that, and there's another series called Hunt for the Truth, which I found out about through Weaponized Nerd Rage. Another awesome YouTuber, but anyway. And I'm aware of stuff like fan-made projects on YouTube, like fan films and audio dramas, as well as machinimas. Like, machinimas are actually weirdly entertaining. I have no idea why. Like, that's what Red vs. Blue started as. It was initially just a machinima, and it started out not even as that. It started out as a joke someone at Drunk Gamers made up, like for a fake trailer. Anyway, and through this, I kind of got an idea, which is either a machinima or an audio drama, which is intended to be set in the Halo universe. Because if there's one thing Paramount did succeed in, it made me, again, want to be involved in fan-made projects. Because, like, I want to be a writer, but I would not mind writing scripts or stuff for people to use. Now, granted, whether you think what I've written down is good or not, that is another matter entirely. Because I don't have much... I usually have contempt for the stuff I write, but anyway. And I've been writing something that's in the vein of the latter idea, which is of an audio drama. Wait, did I say that right? Okay, I thought about, just in case I didn't say that, I'll repeat that, or say it for clarity. I was writing down something that is either, I would like the idea of either doing a machinima or an audio drama, and I've been writing down stuff that's in the vein of an audio drama, which is similar to Hunt for the Truth. But I would have mine focus more on original. Like, I wouldn't mind, like, if I could get a good voice actress, I would not mind someone who could do a good impression of Sarah Palmer, because I would like to have her involved, like a brief thing, like very brief. but it's mainly to be about original characters, and it's more or less done in this. It's me trying to do something in the similar vein to Hunt for the Truth, but again with the exploits of original characters, and it's kind of like an investigation into someone who. I also wanted to connect it to like the dirty, shady shit that Oni does, because holy hell, the stuff you find out about the expanded material and what Oni does, it really is creepy. Like the Midnight Facility. That one gives me shivers just thinking of that. But anyway, for this I will be pitching an idea for an audio drama, which is for the most part narrated by a man named David Hale, named after Nathan Hale, if anyone cares about that sort of trivial BS. An individual who had been previously part of a UNSC task force, which was investigating allegations against Oni. And this was made, and the accusations leveled against the Office of Naval Intelligence. And it's like investigating some of these allegations, and it has different people researching different aspects of the allegations. But it's kind of like the narrator's talking about it from a time after it's all gone down. Like this is like he's narrating from a point in the Halo timeline that is post-Infinity. So it's after Master Chief has resolved things with the Guardian or Cortana or whatever. So when humanity is not in a position where they can be in danger too much, they do this. And part of this is because of people like Benjamin Giraud from Hunt the Truth and his friend Petra. But anyway, this guy is part of the task force David Hale belonged to was investigating Oni's involvement with two morally and ethically questionable projects, Project Frankenstein and Project Shadowblade. The first, Project Frankenstein, allegedly having been conducted by taking ODSTs and probably also Marines who had been intentionally listed as KIA or MIA and places them within a joint Oni ODST task force which performed, let's just say, questionable missions both during the final months of the war and in the years before Master Chief resurfaced, or in the years between like Halo 3 and 4, it was also active. The second, Project Shadowblade, where basically it took ODST soldiers left over from the first project and giving them augmentations similar to those used by Spartan Force. This was also done with Oni. Like, the task force that Project Frankenstein recruited people into, they also worked with Oni agents. Both of these guys were given these augmentations, and if they made it through or they were capable, they became what's known as Shadow Blades, which is really good wet work assassins and people who deal in Black Ops shit. David's job was... And before I continue, they also did some other stuff that was questionable, and this kind of deals into how I wanted to bring in the shady shit that Oni may or may not have done, because I will be making some stuff up and borrowing stuff from existing canon or from existing material that's already been released and injecting that into it, but also original stuff of allegations as well, because I'm trying to, on one hand, I'm trying to be as faithful as I can, but also take some creative liberties. Like, I'm trying to avoid it being too fan-fiction-y. Like, I'm trying to take a light step away from that sort of stuff. I'm still trying to finish up one story, but mainly I want to get on to making original stuff, so I'm trying to make it as less fan-fiction as possible. But anyway, David's job in the investigation was to research into a man known as Seeker. His role name, I will say later on, I might say in the story. Actually, no, I say in the story, I just don't want to say here. And Seeker was basically a part of both Frankenstein and Shadowblade. And David's job in the investigation and researching him was to interview people to have interacted with him at various points in his life, such as Sarah Palmer, ODSTs who served with him that survived the war, Benjamin Giraud and Petra Janicic. I would really need some really good, talented voice actors, because there's no way I could... Well, if I could save them enough money, I could probably hire some good ones, but I would need someone who can, like, imitate another person's voice. But anyway, Oni personnel, former insurrectionists, and others. Although the insurrectionist part, that wasn't part of the investigation initially. That was something that happened as a result of, like, him being contacted by other people. Because it's, again, like, the thing about Hunt for the Truth was Benjamin Giraud was doing a normal trying to build a fake story for Master Chief. to like give to the public, and then he was contacted by people that you would never think to interact with, like conspiracy theorists. So something similar like that happens with Hale. David's John. Oh wait, I already said that. And what else was I going to say? In the process of the investigation, he would learn of other crimes Oni had perpetuated or perpetrated, either against the elites or in collaboration with insurrectionists. Again, that's probably stuff I might be taking creative liberties with. And gradually, David changes in his perspective. In the beginning, he is a skeptic of the accusations, not fully convinced that Oni was guilty of the accusations. I mean, he's aware of the shady shit Oni does. This narrator, he used to be an Oni spook, so he knows of the things such as the Midnight Facility, and isn't some naive schlub who believes the UNSC and Oni would never dare do something so dubious. On the contrary, he knows they would, but the accusations of the projects that they supposedly conducted sounded a little too comic booky for him to find credible. However, things snowball in a way he never would have imagined, but that is as much as I want to reveal in terms of what happens with the investigator. And that is all I can really think to reveal about the idea I've had. Personally, I don't know if I want to even do it sometimes because it feels like very much like a fanfic. As I've already stated, this is something I want to kind of step away from. And I don't know if much will come from this idea because, and here's the thing about me, I can be very capricious. Like, I can be very impulsive. Some of these things I've written in my life, or I've started writing, like, I've got 7 or 8 projects I'm already trying to write that are originals. And some of those I did either on impulse or start on impulse or begin working on the blueprints for on impulse. So I might change my mind one day, you never know. My only real issue, and again, I'm still writing the scripts. Like, I've got some fragments and the main one. But even if I finish this, I would need to find a good editor because I always need a good editor because there are things I'll think I could have added later that would have been so much better, but I never thought to. But I would certainly like to try my hand in it. I would also need a good voice actor. I would also need to hire a good artist because I want there to be images to look at while the narrator's speaking. And I wouldn't be the speaker. I would just be the writing the thing. Or the original draft, anyway. And then get an editor and some other people to add their own stuff. Like, that would be the extent of my involvement, unless they want some kind of background character voice. Then that's about it. Because my voice ain't that nice to listen to. Like, I've heard it. It's unpleasant. Well, to me, anyway. But anyway. Point is, I don't have the ideal voice for it, and it requires some dramatic vocal delivery. I would certainly need someone who can be decent as a Sarah Palmer impresser. But for the main thing, I would need, for like David, it would have to be a very engaging voice. Like, if you told me I could have anyone voice this narrator, I would probably say either Razor Fist or Weaponized Nerd Rage. Probably Weaponized Nerd Rage the most because, like, if you go back to watch his videos called What Marvel Can Learn From and listen to those, you can tell this is someone who has a very passion for what he's doing, and I would not also mind having that guy be an editor. And these voice actors that I would be hiring, they could be free to add or change stuff up if they want to. I wouldn't care. Like, whatever they think would help improve it, I'm all for. Additionally, I would need someone to consult on this to make sure I am adhering to the lore, which an actual fan would want. And I would need an actual fan as a consultant. I would certainly need something akin to Ryan Kennel, but for Halo lore. But these are concerns I might deal with later, because I do research for some things. And I think that's all I wanted to say in terms from the note perspective. If you're kind of curious about what kind of person he's investigating, Seeker was, he was basically like, if you've seen Red vs. Wind, you've seen Locust. He's dressed like him, but he was an ODST officer, and then he became basically what's called, that I've written down as a pseudo-Spartan. Like, when they got the augmentations for Spartan 4s, they gave those to him eventually. And he did lots of shady shit, and he initially believed in it, but gradually it ate away at him, which you'll find through the story. And he was generally a good person, but anyway. Actually, no, I probably shouldn't have revealed too much about that, but I've had different ideas about what I want to do in terms of like the narration of this. One time I thought maybe I'll have it to where you have countering accounts of how this guy acted. Maybe I'll have countering narratives of who he was as a person. But then I kind of scrapped that because I only got the idea from a Denzel Washington movie. But anyway, I think that's really all I wanted to say. It's just like I'm still formulating on what else I want to add to it. And that's if I want to do this at all. Which I can't remember if I said the title is. It will be Blood Trail, unless you can think of a better title, which I'm all for. But yeah, it's just again, it's supposed to be in a similar vein to Hunt for the Truth, but about original characters for the most part, who may or may not have connections to other characters from the main series. And who knows? I may not even include Sarah Palmer. I could always just make some other original character, so it's an original story. But yeah, I think that's where I'll end it. That's all I wanted to say. Have a nice day, and just let me know your thoughts. I would like actual people who are fans of Halo to let me know their input on this. Hell, I'd like having input from anyone in general, as long as they're not assholes about it. But anyway, that's the video. As I said, have a nice day, and remember the game was rigged from the start.